Welcome, 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 everybody. Welcome back to the second interview I have here with Virginia Davis, and and I'm excited. I'm really pumped up because I was just talking to her before we just got on this live interview, and what we found principles to really take your life to the next level, especially if you've been in a position where you're trying to retire, if you're literally trying to make enough money to support yourself so that way you can live the lifestyle you want to live. And some of the critical elements of Virginia's incredible story really has led her up to this position to share with you the information that you need to know in order to get your life and your business and create a business that creates you long-lasting wealth so you can live the life of your dreams. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome and introduce Virginia to the call. Welcome, Virginia.
Hi. Sorry about that. Hello, everybody. My name is Virginia Davis, and I'm glad to be with you here today. And what I'd like to do is just kind of expound a little bit on my story. I previously talked a little bit about what I did in the corporate world, and I was working there for about 24 years, had a good paying job. And what happened was I decided that I had reached a point where I was burned out. So I decided I was going to go back to school because, everybody said, you need your degree. They keep talking about your, college education, and I just hadn't finished it. So I decided to go ahead and do that. And so I messed around and took about 5 years to go ahead and complete because I kept taking other classes that didn't apply. But all that did was kind of gave me a window of like 5 or 6 years where I really didn't have any income coming in. And so when it came time for me to then go back to work, I definitely wasn't making the money I had when I retired. And so it ended up slowly I would get second jobs. I decided one time, well, okay, I can make a little bit extra money. I can go deliver newspapers. So I did that. I got up like at 4 in the morning and go deliver these newspapers. And there was a lot of times when the weather wasn't very cooperative, and I had one time I ended up in an accident. I ran into this car because I pulled up to throw my newspaper, but I forgot to put it in park, and I took off out the door, and it went rolling down the street, and my car ran over the tips of my toes because I got thrown on the ground and right in front of this house, and here comes this big old dog. It hits the front door and goes bang, and I scared the hell out of me, and so I jumps up and chased my van down the street and gets back in and slams the door after it ran into a vehicle. So I backed it up, and this lady's running out and saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm going, yeah, but I think I hit your car down here. And I said, your dog scared me more than anything. But, just crazy things like that. I would think I was making a little bit of money, but I was exhausted by the time I went to work at 8 o'clock. So I didn't do that very long, but, it gave me a good appreciation for what people have to do when they have to continue doing jobs like that to make some extra money. And then I started working at Lowe's part-time. Yeah, that was another eye-opener, when I have to stand on concrete for 8 hours a day, and I wasn't used to that. And that's another eye-opener. It says just people actually have to do that and have done that for years and years and years, and it makes you appreciate the hardships that they have to go through. So when I go up and check out with somebody, I'm nice to them because I know what they're going through. So, but they were all, time for a little amount of money. I was always working for somebody else. I was never having, I wasn't the boss. I wasn't the person making the most money. And when I finally had to quit that job, I ended up, well, that's another story. I ended up with a broken leg, but we can talk about that some other time. But um, there's just some things that it just makes you appreciate what people do have to do when they have to, work 2 or 3 low-paying jobs just because they don't have the money coming in that they need.
Wow.
So,
So Virginia, and I think this is amazing because what's really happening is that you're actually sharing with everybody who's watching this interview the 3 deadly mistakes that keep people broke after they're retired. And I think the first, and it doesn't happen like when they retire. It happens throughout their life as they're going. And I think part of it is because of the information that we're getting. So and we're going to release one by one, but the first deadly mistake I think that make in order to literally retire and have no money, the first mistake that people make is that they think they need more education, right? So, and I've heard this, people go, they have their jobs, they do it for a while, then they leave, they go back to school, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, whatever it is on school, and then they find out that they waste all this time learning, and then they get out of school and they don't have a better paying job. So you actually went from a better paying job to school to less money. Is that kind of what happened for you?
yep, that sums it up pretty good. And then on top of that, I ended up with student loans. So those continue. I'm still paying on those.
Wow. So education is actually not the solution, right? So what you're saying is the solution is knowing the right information that's going to make you more money, right? So information that's going to teach you on how to be the boss instead of being the employee. So that's really what you're really coming across here. And so Virginia, when you decided and you just stepped out and you said, okay, I'm ready to kind of do things differently. What was going on through your head as you experienced some of these things? Like, were you afraid that you wouldn't be able to have enough money? What made you decide that it was time to transition into a different model? Like, how did you go and transition from doing all these failures into stepping into a place where you're actually having success?
I guess the biggest thing was, I was doing these 2 and 3 different jobs at one time, and at one time I was doing some I was a subcontractor for a communication company, and then all of a sudden they just decided that whoops, we don't have any more contractors, so that set me up to having like no income, and then I was back to Lowe's again, which that was my second phase at being at Lowe's, and I thought there's got to be a better way, because I'm always working for somebody else. I'm always at their mercy, you know. When they say, hey, we don't need you anymore, you're just out. So it's like time for me to be the boss, and I love the idea of being able to work from home. And so that's when the internet really was attracting me. I'd already been involved in some multi-level marketing, but I didn't like the three-way calls. I didn't like to, have to go to these hotel meetings and invite my family and friends. And of course, then you get up with nobody wants to talk to you because they know what you're going to ask and know what they're going to talk about. So I wanted something where, and I did, some cold calling and stuff like that, and it just wasn't working. And that's what attracted me about the internet was, if you get the right training and get into a system that's basically kind of set up for you where you don't have to learn all of the bits and pieces. Somebody else has already done that hard part for you. Then it allows you to sit back and do more of the things that you want to do, and even maybe outsource some things that you really don't want to do and keep your business going.
Awesome. So I think right here is a perfect point where, this is deadly mistake number 2, which is you being at the mercy of your own boss, which is, oh, let me work really hard at this job. They'll give me a raise. I'll rise up the ladder, and at some point I'm going to make a lot of money. And then you realize at any point your life can radically change like that because the needs in the business could be different, and then your skill sets are now of no use because it's not profitable for the company, and instantly you can be terminated. So being at the mercy of a boss is mistake number 2, because now you're not actually creating assets, or you're not creating something of value that you can keep and hold on to. You're just building this work portfolio, and all you have to do is bring that to other people, and then hopefully they want you and require your services. And then even after all the education, the experience you've had, and the corporate, the job that you had at corporate America, even after all this experience, it reached a point where you try to go back, and I'm sure you tried to tackle another corporate job, and nobody wanted to hire you. Is that what happened? Which is why you ended up going to Lowe's and doing some forklift training and all those other things? Is
And what happened was I was working for the county, and that's when I decided to go back and I got a an opportunity to be a subcontractor working for the same company that I had worked for, the communications companies I'd worked for, and it was really good money. It was really more money than I was making for the county, and I could
Mhm.
basically kind of do that at home. But when they cut that out, I wasn't ready to go back to a major corporate job. I just didn't want it anymore, and that's when I ended up back at Lowe's because I in the town that I live in. That's about right, all that was available at the time. So that's when I decided I did Lowe's, and then I ended up I was designing kitchen cabinets, what I really liked, but I ended up having to learn how to learn, drive a forklift, a cherry picker, and I had to get down from top stock all of the heavy cabinets and appliances. And I thought, man, this isn't working smart. This is just working too hard. So,
Mm.
I decided that that's why I pursued more with, going online and doing something on the computer and on the internet.
So, and I think we've covered right now deadly mistake number three, which is working hard and not smart. So a lot
Right.
of people work really, really, really hard, and they think, oh, you just got to work hard. You got to work hard. Hard doesn't actually equate to the amount of income. It's just setting up profitable systems in place where you can make other people work hard for you for less and then create the profit, which is why business owners are in business, right? So you don't want to be doing the pulling of the actual equipment. You want to be the person that says, oh, if we put these containers in this aisle, it'll sell more. So you'll be the strategist as to knowing what creates more money, and you just get people to just move things around for you. And that's really what people are really stepping into. So I love that we've got these three deadly mistakes here that people make through their life, which ends up which puts them in a position where they're absolutely broke. Where when it comes to time of retirement, like you said, about 50% of people don't have enough money to live the lifestyle they want to live or to even sustain their lifestyle. And they're looking for other ways to work, and they're sitting there thinking, can I retire? I'm going to have to work till the day I die, and I'm going to have to work and work and work. So, and we want to be able to give those people an opportunity where they don't need to understand how to buy a Lowe's, I guess you could say, or have millions of dollars to invest into starting up a business, and give people an affordable, low-cost investment where they can build a business from the ground up. And I think that's what the magic is that you're doing, Virginia, for all the people out there who really want to be able to take their lives and their income to a whole nother level by just being able to actually, to be able to run the business as opposed to being operated or run by some other business. So I think that's incredible. So Virginia, when you're kind of going through this process and you realize that these are the mistakes that you went through and you've been through MLM, so you know what that kind of business model is like, you realize that the internet is one of those solutions for you. And I know we're going to cover this more in the next video that's coming up and talking about the everything for people. Um, but what else is there to you that's really important about making this money? I mean, I'm sure that you have family, you've got grandkids. Could you share a little bit about what you're now able to do, or what you're going to be able to do more of now because you're becoming the boss instead of the employee?
Okay, as this increases and I become more independent, I have more of that financial freedom, which I think all of us are looking for is the financial freedom. And like today, I just went up and went to my grandson's. He's 8 years old. I just went up to school to a birthday party, and I want to be able to do more of that. If it means taking my kids to the park or the zoo or the grandkids, that's when I want to be able to have my freedom to do. And and I, and as well as personal freedom, it's financial freedom. I don't want to wake up in the morning and say, "Oh man, how am I going to pay this?" I don't even want to think about the bills are already paid. That's where I'm going for that. I don't have any bills. I'm debt free. I'm working on building my portfolio, and I've actually changed my thinking from minuscule thinking to big thinking. I no longer think, oh wow, I'm just making $30,000, so that's all I can make. Once you do that, once you start thinking small, then that's all you're going to make. If I think I'm going to make 3,000, that's all, or 30,000, that's all I'm going to make. So I'm thinking I'm going to make millions, so I'm going to make more.
Like they say, the sky's as high as you set it, and if you believe, if people go ahead and put a small ceiling on it, then they can only reach to their expectations. So I love that too, because it just shows that a lot of people who are, especially if they're building a business, that it takes some personal development to change that type of thinking. So Virginia, how did you actually get the knowledge or the information to go ahead and change that thinking? Because I know a lot of people, when they don't have money, they reach this place where they're stuck and they don't feel like they're going to have any success, or they even feel like it's not even possible for them to retire and have the money that they want. So what actually changed your thinking there?
When I started just looking at, I started reading some books, and one of them that I'm presently reading right now is it's The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. But what it goes into is talking about, what is your definition of money? And everybody has a different definition of money, and money means different things to different people. Maybe it's because of where you grew up or how you grew up. I grew up on a farm, and there was 10 of us kids, and I remember we didn't have a whole lot of money, but I don't remember my parents having arguments about money. But I also don't remember ever having any discussions with my mom about how important money was, and you should save. So anytime I got a couple of bucks from my babysitting job, was $25 an hour, or 25 cents an hour, excuse me. I spent it, and I continued that same spending through my life, as whatever. When my salary increased, so did my spending, and I was always at the end of the year zero, because I didn't
Wow.
save anything. And I think what now is like, I know that money is valuable. I know I can't live without money. And for me to be free, I had to put feelings. I had to say, this money means something to me, and it's not going to run me. I'm going to run it.
Mm. Phenomenal. So you're actually taking the time out of your schedule to read these books, and by reading these books, it's allowing you to see just how different the relationship that you have with money, and by understanding that relationship and changing it, it's giving you control and power to be able to grow it, manifest it, spend it wisely. I mean, there's nothing wrong with spending money. It's about spending it in ways that will actually become profitable for you, and also spending it in ways that you enjoy, because if you don't spend money and enjoy it, you're not going to be driven to make more of it. I mean, right now, next week, or in 2 weeks from now, I'm going to Costa Rica for a little bit of a vacation, and there's always more money that's going to be created as a result of that, because once you have it, like Virginia was saying, once you have that automated business system in place, what all you have is just money that just keeps flooding in, as long as you go ahead and you stay the boss and your employees keep doing the work, and you do the little things, the managerial things that you need to do in your business to keep growing it and keep scaling it. So I think this is absolutely phenomenal. So Virginia, when people are interested in starting a business, and the journey, was it all like easy for you, like every step of the way, or were there lots of bumps and learning curves? What kind of person, especially they're ready to retire and live a life of total prosperity and freedom, what type of person really needs to be serious when it comes to following your information and your instructions?
I think the people who are really interested in changing their lifestyle, they know that what they're doing right now isn't working, and they have to have a mindset of saying, "I'm willing to change. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to listen. Um, I don't know it all." I've read a lot of books, and it's like that the rich people think different than the poor people. You have to change your thinking. You have to change your mindset. You have to work on developing that, because once you have your thoughts, and your thoughts will lead to feelings. Your feelings will lead to actions, and your actions will lead to results. And when that happens, and you're looking at what these results are, if they aren't the results you want, you have to go back and reprogram your mind, because there's some of your thoughts that are wrong, or maybe they were right when you were thinking them, initially, but they're not getting you the results you want, so they aren't the right thoughts. You need to reprogram them so you can end up with different results. And so I'm looking for people who are open-minded. You have to be willing to say, hey, maybe something I'm doing just isn't right. It's not getting me the money I want. It's not getting me the extra freedom. It's not giving me financial freedom. I'm still in debt. I don't know. Let's see. One important thing is to know what your net worth is. And if you can't just say, hey, I know what my net worth is, you need to back up and think about that. Don't think about what your salary is. Think about what your net worth is. And every month, revisit, or every 90 days, revisit that. And if you focus on that, it will change. It will improve. But if you never think about it, it won't change.
Wow. Wow. I think that's incredible, Virginia, because you just dropped some gold mines on these people. So if you're in a position right now, you got to take what Virginia's saying and really take it to heart, because, like she said, thoughts lead up to feelings, your feelings lead up to actions, and actions lead up to results. And if the results are not getting you what you're looking for, as in the amount of income that's coming into your bank account, is the amount of the lifestyle that you're living, if you're not getting what you want, it traces back to your programming, and your ability to be open to changing will be the biggest and most, I think one of the most powerful things is that people who they think are at the top of the ladder, the bosses of the companies or the CEOs, these people are actually the most easy to program. And I was having an interesting discussion with one of my friends who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, and I was sitting down with him, and I suggested a simple idea, and instantly he allowed himself to think differently about it, and he started applying that way of thinking in his life immediately. And to me, I was shocked, because normally it takes people a period of time to be open enough to learn. And if you're open and you're ready, Virginia, you have what it takes to share the right information with the right people. Virginia is probably one of the best mentors that you can have right now to get started and to get going into creating a profitable business system that's going to work for you, that's going to work automatically for you, that's going to work in a way where it requires less of your involvement than other businesses. It's still going to require involvement, it's still going to require time, it's still going to require money, but you'll be in the best possible position with this system. So I think this is incredible, Virginia. I think this is a good place to wrap up this call. And I think on the next video, what we're going to be discussing is the exact formula. And once you understand that formula, it's going to change the game for you. It's going to be able to open up your eyes to a whole new possibilities of wealth, and really take some of the questions that Virginia said to heart. But the questions about how, what is your ceiling? What is your income? Are you thinking, what's your relationship with money? How do you want to be different with that? And if you choose to be different, you choose to be open, and you choose to be in a greater place of wealth, if you choose to go ahead and be able to live prosperously and retire, and maybe even retire early on, and retire with the amount of income that you want, you're in the right place at the right time. On the next video, we'll be going ahead and sharing the exact formula that's going to change the game for you. So with that being said, I'd like to thank Virginia for coming out here, this knowledge. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
Not right now. I'd just like to say thank you for listening, and stay tuned for number 3.
That's where all the secrets are. Make sure you're on it. See you later, everybody. My name is Amir Mahmood. This is Virginia Davis, and we'll see you on the next video.